Hi friends, thank you so much for watching this video. In today's video, we are going to be, I just want to talk to some, entrepreneurs out there and just give them a word of encouragement. So if you are an entrepreneur or if you are, somebody that is looking into entrepreneurship, this video is definitely for you. Okay, so number one, you might have an idea, a great idea that's gonna work, right? And when you have this great idea that is going to work and change the world, it is not enough. You need to actually test it. So normally what I do is when I have an idea that I want to implement, I ensure that I test it within 48 hours to ensure that it works. So it's not about the actual idea that you have, but it's about the implementation and making sure that it works. A lot of time we find that people have a beautiful business plan. Remember, business plans are good, guys. I'm not against business plans. Have your business plan. But I always say, wait, implement the idea first and then draw up the business plan. Because once you've implemented the idea, you have tested the market, you know the demand, you know who your competitors are, and you know the cost of it. So when you come back and draft and draw up your business plan, you have more information and it's just a whole lot easier. So what I do is if I've got this great idea that I want to implement, the first thing that I do is I give myself a time period of actually implementing it. I give myself 48 hours to test an idea and see if this idea is going to work. So when you have your 48 hours, I am talking about literally, it's almost like a sample of what you are doing. So you would literally test it. For instance, let's say you want to sell chippies on the side of the road. That's your business. You believe that, you've invented your own chappies where the flavor does not finish. The flavor will last you the whole day or the last you the whole week. And you want to test if it'll actually work. So the first thing that you're going to do is, obviously, with the chappies example, is you would make your chappies. So you're not going to make a lot of chappies. You're not. You're just going to make a few chappies. Maybe you'll make like 50 chappies. And you're going to test if your people are actually going to buy, and you're going to set a price. Set your price and go to the side of the road and start selling your chippies. Check your area as well. So you, for this specific area, let's say for instance, you are in Silverton, right? I'm going to use that because it's my hometown. So you are in Silverton. So you're going to take, from your batch of 50, you're going to take 50 chippies. You're going to stand on the side of the road and start selling your chippies to the first 10 people and see if they will buy. Stand on the side of the road and actually advertise yourself. Approach people, say, hello, I am selling chippies. My chippies is different from other people's chippies because the flavor lasts the whole day. The flavor will last you a whole week. The price of my chippies, because it's different from other chippies, is not 50 cents, but my chippies is 3 rand. See people's reaction. See if people will buy it or people will not buy it. See if people will be interested in it or people will not be interested in it. Remember, you only have 48 hours. So you will stay in Silverton for maybe like 3 hours. After that, move to Hatfield, right? As soon as you get to Hatfield, you use your next batch, 10 chippies, and see if it'll work. You do the same thing that you did in Silverton and see if people will be interested in your chippies. And you test it and then see if it works. If you get more demand there are more people that are interested in your chippies, it means that, okay, maybe Hatfield is a better area or a better location than Silverton. So, there are clients here. There's a market here. That is what you are going to do. Test it within 48 hours before you invest a lot of money in it. Because a lot of times people tend to write these beautiful business plans. They are beautiful on paper. An entrepreneur is somebody that makes it work. An entrepreneur is someone that sells. If you can sell your product, whatever it is, then you will be able to make money. Yes, business plans are the best. I love business plans because they allow you to, project the future, project your sales. But sometimes you are sitting there and it's so funny on how, when you're drafting a business plan, you always make profit. There is no business plan out there where you will not make profit. All business plans, you will always make a profit because it's on a piece of paper. It's in a perfect world. It's not in, on the streets in reality. And so you test it on the market, and while you're testing it, you'll actually see how many people sell chippies. You'll see, okay, I know maybe this corner has too much competition, or if it has too much competition, what is the price of chippies? If they're selling their chippies for 50 cents and people like their chippies, it doesn't make sense for me to actually sell mine for 3 rand. Even though it's good, it's the best, people always go for 50 cents. So in that area, you'll be able to learn and see what is the demand, what people are actually looking for. And immediately after that, if you find another area, if it doesn't work in that area, you'll obviously find another area for you to work. So you need to test it within 48 hours. See if it works, see if it doesn't work. And when you are testing it, speak to people. I remember, for instance, once I wanted to launch something. So I literally went into the street. I printed about, was it 20 flyers or 30 flyers? And within my flyers, I thought initially I'd just go and just give them to people. And then I noticed that is not productive. When you actually give out a flyer to someone without talking to them, they're just going to look at it and they're going to throw it in the dustbin. So what I did was I went and I spoke to my target market. So I had a target market and I spoke to them, and I went to those particular people and I was like, okay, so this is what I want to do. This is what I'm offering you. Are you interested in knowing more? And they were interested. They were like, okay, tell me more about your product. So I told them that, okay, so this is my product and this is the price of the product. Would you buy it, or do you feel like it is too expensive? And the guy was like, okay, I like how it adds value, but it's a little bit expensive for me, unless if you allow me to pay your product in installments. Then that's when I realized that maybe my price is a little bit too much for this particular target market. So then I went back home and I adjusted my price accordingly. And then I sat down after speaking to about a couple of people. I sat down and I actually realized that this idea is not going to work. It's not going to make me money because of, my target market. Yes, it's a good target market, but being practical about my product, it doesn't necessarily suit all their needs. So then I found myself going back and repositioning and actually changing my target market to people who are going to suit their needs. So what is the next thing that I do? I give myself 48 hours to find my perfect target market. So then I went into the streets. I collected a brochure from one of my competitors who is doing very well, and I saw what they offered and what is working for them. So I tried my best to be a little bit different from them and offer something that's a little bit different from them, that will be appealing to more people. So the advice that I want to give out entrepreneurs is, it's good for you to have the idea. The idea works, and on piece of paper, it is a perfect world. But if you do not go out there and test it, you will never know if it worked or not. So that is obviously idea number one. And tip number two is funding. Guys, please note that a lot of people don't start their entrepreneurship journey because they are waiting for a whole lot of money before they can start. It doesn't work like that. Investors are not going to invest in a risky projects. That's why a lot of times you find that a lot of startups, yes, they are good. The ideas are amazing. The ideas are perfect, but you don't get funding for it. Why? Because I'm not going to put in money in your business to fulfill your dreams where after you haven't even tested it. You haven't even checked if it generates income or not. Risk so much of my money into an idea that might not even work. So the advice for entrepreneurs is, you need to go out there and start working even without a funder. A funder is looking to see how long you have been operating for and if you are bringing income. So you need to work a little bit extra hard with what you have. You use what you have. Even if it means you are, not necessarily quitting your job to go full-time, but using maybe your salary to fund your own project. Because when you fund your own project, it'll be easier for you to actually have particular resources. So a lot of mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs tend to do is to quit their jobs and go full-time in this thing without any money, which is great. We love how you take risks. But you do need money to start. We cannot lie there. You need basics like you need a laptop, you need technology, you're going to need data, for instance. You're going to need money for transport to see clients, to produce, your product more. So my advice would be, start. You don't have to start big, you can start small, but you need to start and make sure that your business is in operation. When your business is not in operation and it's just on a piece of paper, you will not get funding. You do not qualify for funding. So a lot of times when you're applying for funding, they look at how long your business has been in operation. So a lot of investors or a lot of these, funding schemes, they look if you've been operating for at least a year. They look at how much income your business is actually making. Is it making 5,000 Rand? Is it making 10,000 Rand? Is it making 40,000 Rand? And when they see that it's actually making business and it can work, then they are willing to pump in a little bit of money to generate. So when you are a startup, a lot of funding companies don't give startups. You get funding from the growth phase of your business. So funding is in the growth phase. So growth phase is you want to move from being a small medium enterprise or the exemption one to growing and becoming a big business. So you need to start and use what you have. And the last but not least, advice number 3. For an entrepreneur. So there's a difference between someone that is an entrepreneur and someone that is self-employed. So a self-employed person would be someone where without them being in the business is going to collapse. 100% gush, gone, collapse. If they are not there, they are not business. So they run the business. So for example, this would be like an accountant, for instance. You are an accountant and you self-employed, and you do accounting work. So without you, there's no business. Yes, but an entrepreneur is someone that is able to, start a business or operate a business where they are not included in the equation for the business to become successful. So they have the business is running, but they're not necessarily the main factor or the major person who runs the business. For example, let's say, for instance, you are a photographer, right? So if you are a photographer and you go on vacation one day, if your business is able to operate even without you being on vacation, it means that you are an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is somebody that is able to run a business without them necessarily being included in the equation. What they do is they would actually just manage what is happening. Example, I remember when I was getting married, we had a specific photographer. So that guy could not make it because he was at work. But there was a photographer at the wedding, a professional photographer who took videos, who took pictures. He had a team of people to do the work even in his absence. So he wasn't there on the Thursday, but he was definitely there on the Saturday. So that is just an example of someone that is self-employed and someone that is an entrepreneur. So decide today what you want to do. Do you want to be self-employed or do you want to become an entrepreneur? So those are the 3 advices that I'd love to give to entrepreneurs out there. Remember, guys, you need to work at it. I was actually reading a verse in the Bible that says that the one that works the land is the one that is going to flourish. You need to work your land. You can't sit there and wait for funding. You will never start. You have to start somewhere. Work your land. Use what you have. When you use what you have, you become operational and you find strategy. If it's not working this way, find another way and make it work. And you will become successful one day. Don't forget, we need you. We need you in our economy. We need your idea. Just implement it and start. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. See you in the next video.